You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another thrilling episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Phil Better, the podcast mogul. I'm excited to introduce our guest today. They are a dynamic and multi-passionate digital marketer. They're not just about digital marketing. They are on a mission to empower people to build behind-the-scenes passive income streams. What also sets her apart? Well, she's done this by expertly repurposing content onto Amazon. And here's the kicker, without the hassle of writing a book. Now, get ready to dive into the world of innovative digital marketing strategies and discover how to create passive income streams with our guest. Stay tuned as we unravel the secrets of repurposing content and building your online presence in ways you've never imagined. Now, without further ado, let's put our hands together for our guest, Jenny Hansen Lane. Welcome to the pod. Pardon me. Okay, hold on. Let me give me 1 second, Jenny. It normally doesn't happen, but Jenny, welcome to the podcast. Went through that whole rigmarole without biting my tongue and then floundered at the end.
When it's 7 degrees outside and you're cold, you can do whatever you want. You kind of sound like you were introducing a magic trick. And I was like, oh my, I almost feel like this could be a magic trick, the things we're going to talk about today. So I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, I'm excited. And magic is a pastime of mine. So I love that even better. If this is a magic trick, how to create income streams out of nowhere. I'm guessing you're the magician that's going to expose, the math magician is going to expose us those secrets. But Jenny, thank you again for being here. And I'm going to start off right off the bat. Why did you become a digital entrepreneur?
I really wanted to buy my time back. I'd heard people talk about that. I heard people talk about time freedom, and I just wasn't experiencing that I had children and I was a wedding photographer for 10 years. And I wasn't going to make money while I slept. I actually lost sleep doing that thing. So that was my number one thing to get into digital marketing and just being an entrepreneur was to increase that time freedom.
I love that. And that is something that's been echoed from most of the entrepreneurs on this podcast. They wanted to buy their time back. They wanted the freedom to do what they wanted. So when did you, so you were a photographer first, and obviously a successful one, because photography, especially wedding photography, is, it's a hard job, but it does pay. When did that shift happen? When did you go from, hey, selling your time to buying your time?
That's a really great question. I was in a local mastermind here in Kentucky. I had just moved to Kentucky, and I had a girl that asked me to take headshots of her, and she did a presentation, and she was 27 years old, and she showed all these high school kids how she became a millionaire at 27. And when she got off the stage, I was like, I had no idea that you did that. And she was like, do you want to do that? And I said, yes. And so just through networking with her and starting that whole process, I launched my first course called 6K in one day, and it was for photographers. And it was really fun. And I realized I actually have to do more photography to sell more photography courses. And that was kind of something that I wasn't sure I wanted to do. And so in the digital marketing world, I follow Russell Brunson, and he always said, like, publish often. And I took that like very literal, and I thought that meant like publish daily. So I launched a podcast on National Honesty Day, and I did not stop publishing a daily podcast for 2.5 years. I was going to break the world record, so I submitted it to Guinness World Record. And after 8 weeks, they were like, there's already someone who holds this record of 12 years. It's the weatherman. And I was like, you're going to give the record to someone that just, shouts out the temperature? So I spent a long time like trying to figure stuff out and trying to repurpose. And it wasn't until I was like, maybe I should turn my podcast into a book that I really fell into the self-publishing world that completely shattered any ceiling that I thought I had before.
Now, so you've been doing self-publishing pretty much and income stream creation since then.
2022.
2022. Dear Lord. And if you don't mind me asking, how many streams of income do you have?
I have 4 that I count, but I have more that I don't keep track of. I feel like to keep track of it, it has to be over $1,000 a month. So I wouldn't there's some affiliates that I don't make over $1,000 a month, but if I make over $1,000 a month, I talk about it. So I'd say 4.
So you have 4 main, and then you got these baby streams off that slowly feed it, and maybe one day will become a raging river, but you're going to use that for passing time. How do you come up with the ideas for your income streams?
Well, I want to monetize. When you think about, you do a podcast, podcasts are so fun. You find your voice, but how do we really leverage that on a platform that is looking for people? And so the number one thing that I identify is, what are the SEO-friendly platforms? Because so far, that's where I made the most money, where people are congregating and hanging out.
I like that. I like that. And do you still do your podcast?
I stopped. And one of the reasons I stopped is because I wasn't sure my offers. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And when I started publishing, and this is the crazy thing with Amazon, when you ask me how many income streams that I have, I've published 493 books on Amazon in 2 years. And every time one sells, I tell people that's an income stream, because there's no limit on what you can publish on Amazon. And these are notebooks and journals and planners. So your intro was a teeny tiny bit wrong when you called me a writer. I'm not a writer yet. I would say I'm an author and I'm a publisher, but this has just been finding things in demand on Amazon and serving the customer without writing tons of books.
I love that. I love how you're providing a need. They want these journals, they want these planners and that, and you're just like, hey, I can create it for you, and you can pay me, and it's a small business. I love it. And now you're teaching people to do pretty much something very similar to what you're doing.
Yeah. So the really neat thing is, when you get into digital marketing, you learn all different types of ways for lead generation and traffic. And we know that Facebook ads, if you even look at an ad, Mark Zuckerberg is going to charge you money, right? And so learning, I already had a background in Facebook ads. And so I decided to learn Amazon ads. And it's a different platform. You can actually show your book off without being penalized or charged. It's only when someone clicks on your book. And so once I really went down that avenue, I learned that Jeff Bezos, right, when you give him money, he actually gives you customer data back. And so the only reason I was able to publish 493 books was because Amazon was telling me what the customer wanted when I was targeting them on ads. And so that allowed me to create a journal that sold. I've made $38,000 in my pocket from it in 2 years, which is just insane, right? But
that's an average salary for like a beginner sometimes person.
That's what my husband said. Yeah.
Me and your husband apparently are going to get along great. Wow.
Yeah. So it really is like you have content already. You're a podcaster, right? You provide value. So how could you position that in book format for customers? Amazon has 90 million monthly users that buy. I'm one of them, right? I buy books monthly that are on self-development and whatnot. And there really is no ceiling to that. My kids are 7 and 8. So when you talked about your nephew that's 10 years old, my kids already know how to self-publish. They have a coloring book line and they bought their first Nintendo Switch. And so we're going to talk about the advice that you would give your nephew all throughout this, because the skill set to self-publish really unlocks a lot of dreams that people have, because we have ideas, but we stop the idea when we don't have a vehicle for it. And understanding how to self-publish really breaks that glass ceiling of like, oh, I have an idea. You're driving in the car, you go home, you whip it up, you put it on Amazon. So it really is an incredible place to continue the process of storytelling, which is essentially podcasting too, right?
Jesus. A woman's busted and blowing up my brains here. I want to talk about your kids, because this is an interesting thing, because you're not the first parent I've had on the podcast. But I think you're the first one to say that their children are following exactly in the steps that you are doing and creating multiple income streams for themselves. Was it easy to get your children into it, or were they just naturally like? I don't even have a question for this because it blew my mind. So, how did you get your kids involved in it? We'll start there.
A lot of times people don't start a side hustle because they feel like they don't have any time in addition to their 9 to 5. And at this time of my life, I shot my last wedding in 2022. It was an Indian wedding, so it was like 10 days long. It was so fun, but I wasn't with my family. I was away from my family. So I had really been mourning just being present with my kids. And so when I started publishing, I didn't do it in my office. I didn't do it in secret. I did it on the couch, and my kids sat next to me and they asked me what I was doing. And I'm a little bit of an artistic hoarder. So like when my kids would bring artwork home from school, I can't throw it away. So I just started scanning it, and I thought, I'm already making notebooks. What if we made notebooks of their artwork on the cover? And they thought that was so cool. So they started drawing more. We uploaded them, we published them, we shared them, and like the grandparents bought it as like their grocery list book. And when my kids saw the royalties, they said, let's do it again. And so we thought about the coloring books that are available. Like my son is obsessed with dinosaurs. He's like, let's do dinosaurs and tacos. Like, yes. And so using clip art, using Midjourney AI, we were able to create these really unique things. And it's not normal to see children self-publish. So everybody bought their books. It was their pen name, was like, this is our kid shop. We don't sell lemonade in town because we need a food handler's permit. So buy our coloring books. And it kind of just took off from there. I will say after they bought their Nintendo Switch, they're kind of like, let's play video games. And I'm like, let's keep publishing books, So, but the interesting thing is a couple weeks ago, my 7-year-old said, I need more money. I should make books. And I was like, how cool that he already has the mindset that he knows there's a way to make things happen in his life.
Oh my God, you're starting him off. Yeah, I'm thoroughly excited to see where your children go with the mindset that they know they can just set up a book or they can set up a small company, because like right now it's books, right? They're selling books. Eventually, maybe they'll create a program, a course, and who knows where they could be the next Jeff Bezos here.
Yeah. And I think about like just helping my children. It's weird because I think this is a great resume builder, but like I'm not building kids that need resumes anymore. And that's kind of like, I have to change my mindset on that we're building kids with skill sets, and that really unlocks the mindset of feeling limited to anything really.
Yeah, no, like it is a resume building skill, because if ever they do want to go down that route of the security that is a 9 to 5 lifestyle, because you never know, life changes, as we saw in the last like 10 years. The world can switch in a few months, but it's also for their professional bio as well. This is great. Like I've been working since I've been 7, creating businesses, and like, look, if an 18-year-old comes up to me and says I started building businesses when I was 7, I'm going to take him a little more serious than someone who's 35. Just say so. You are helping out, building, and you're building a self confidence as well.
Yeah. And I think it's just a matter of respecting their boundaries as a kid, where like, I'm only going to support them in it if they seem excited to do it. I'm not going to force them, but they can see me doing it. And that's really attracted a lot of, I would say, moms to my program, the Book Income Stream Machine, because they don't feel like it's something that takes them away from their family. They're starting to do projects together and their kids are doing it. And I really feel like I can't think of another skill set for a money-making skill set online that you can like do with your small children, and they get it because they read books.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest markers for adult success is reading to your children when they're small. And I didn't have that growing up. I am undiagnosed. I'm self-diagnosed, probably with dyslexia. And so when my 8-year-old was in kindergarten, I just said, hey, do you want to read 1,000 books this year? And we just went to the library like every 4 days. And we did it, and he got an award at school. And so books have just kind of been an integral part of our growth in terms of just like feeding the curiosity. And so it's interesting as a consumer to read books, but then also to create books also can really fuel your curiosity.
I love that. I love that because I'm a hoarder of books. If I was a dragon, I'd be a dragon that hoards books. I love reading. My Audible probably has too many too many books in it to fill a library. So I love that you're doing both sides. You're a consumer of books and you produce books for people. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? 10 years from now, where is Jenny? Where is the Book Income Stream Machine? Where are we at?
Yeah, I love that question. I think that the Book Income Stream Machine, it really throws rocks at traditional publishers. I want people to not believe they have to pay $10,000 to get their book out there. Recently, traditional publishers are going to YouTubers with huge audiences because they want to siphon those leads. They want that distribution. So I don't really see this going away. And I think it feels like with my webinar conversions, it is a multi-million-dollar product. And so my goal over the next 10 years is just to make sure 1,000 families know how to self-publish.
I love that. I love that goal. That's a great goal. And I'm glad that I can be somewhat of a part of it because I know there are families that are listening. And I'm pretty sure they'd be like, hey, they know they need to have multiple income streams. Why not have a book publishing one as well? And it also allows your kids to have something to remember, like, hey, you remember this, you drew this, and now it's someone else is coloring it. I love it. I want to talk about investing in yourself because as a passionate digital marketer, you're likely invested in various aspects of your skill sets. Can you share a pivotal moment in your journey where you recognize the importance of investing in yourself and how that investment shaped your success?
I think that this is a really loaded question because when you're in the thick of growth, you don't always see it until later. And so I feel like I have been aggressively trying to figure out that one thing for the past 5 years. And it wasn't until 2023 that it really kind of exploded for me. But it was essentially not giving up. And I say that because I took a personality assessment from Gallup. They're the company that does strength finders. They tell you your top 5. And I paid extra to get all 34. And the 34th strength was consistency. And I was like, that just doesn't resonate with me. And the reason why is because I went 2 years every day publishing a podcast. I went a whole year without buying clothes to see if I could do it. I went a whole year without eating fast food. That was before I had kids, before there was Chick-fil-A. And this past
Damn you, Chick-fil-A.
from October 2022 to October 2023, I did intermittent fasting every single day. Sometimes 10 hours, or sometimes 18 hours, sometimes 40. My longest is like 92. So I really was challenging myself of like, maybe consistency is not my overall strength, but I know how to be consistent. And so knowing that, I knew that I could not fail because I wasn't willing to give up. And I think that is a skill set, a mindset that if everyone can have that shift, they will be able to do anything they want as long as they don't give up. And so the publishing thing, 80% of your income will come from 20% of your books. Even though I have 460, 493, there's 150 that actually make me money every single day. And so I'm tweaking that process, iterating on it, getting better and better and better. But it really all comes down to consistency in terms of like, just don't stop. Don't stop, because you're always on the brink, right? Like, open the pickle jar for me. I'm so close. And then someone just grabs it and you loosened it. You're loosening every single lid in your life, and you're not going to be able to open it if you quit. So that's just the thing I tell my kids, like, just don't stop and you will get there.
I love the pickle analogy. I love the whole thing. Are you like you say you're not a writer, but with the way you're speaking in writer terms with the analogies and all that. I think it's just a matter of moments probably before you write your book.
You caught me. I am in the middle of my second book. So I am kind of leaning into that, but now that I know how to make a book profitable, it's like, how do you marry the passion of your message to profitability? And that's kind of what I'm working on. Has nothing to do with my program. It's just, I feel like I have enough mindset. I've been through the weeds. I've been through the crap enough to help people just not stop. So that's a big part of my message. And I'm still working on the book title. So far, it's like, that's not permanent. Because I think a lot of times we think our childhood or the way we were raised stops us from doing things, but we can always change, right? So
I love it. I think, I'm very excited for this book. Please reach out to me. I want to be, I want to read it. So send me the link. I'll buy it, be pre-order, whatever I have to do. Because I already talking with you, I love your mindset, the way you're doing it. Of course, I want to support any guest off my podcast, because you're supporting me by being here. So yeah, please make sure you send me that link, because I want to be part of that.
I will, and I want to hear about the book you're doing for your nephew. That's very cool.
Well, speaking of that, I guess we can. I don't want to ask the question yet, because we still got a lot of time. But we're making that tease. You're very good at teasing, dropping those teas. Of course, you're a marketer. You know how to market, and you know how to tease and pull people to stay till the end. Is there a skill set that you want to learn?
I think I would like to get better at speaking from stage, or maybe I should say selling from stage. I was asked to speak at my college graduation, but it was mostly because I was just really outgoing. My undergrad's in art. I was raised by a politician. So like when I was 8 years old, I was like knocking on doors, like, will you vote for my dad? And then like slamming the doors on me and next door. So speaking from stage, though, takes me away from my family. When my kids are still kind of little, I'm kind of just buying my time to figure out what that next skill set is. But really, I think as long as I stay curious, the skill sets I need to learn will come about. And I think the tricky part is, what are the skill sets I should be hiring out? Because I like to master things. And then I have the trouble of like, oh, I don't want to outsource because it's really fun, especially book creation. A to Z, right? Like I can just be making journal interiors or just the covers, and I need to focus on money-making activities because I am a solopreneur still.
Yeah, that is always a fun thing when you're a solopreneur taking on everything. Especially when you're a creative solopreneur, the creative part is the part that you enjoy the most, and then it's like, oh wait, no, I have to make money to continue doing all this fun stuff. When you onboard someone new into your your book income stream machine, do you do they have issues, or do they get it nearly like? I'm not saying like they understand the whole process and they can run off, but like the onboarding, does it take them like longer to shift that mindset? Because it is a mind shift once you start investing in the skill. Like, have you seen an issue with that, or what is like maybe a common problem or challenge that people face? I don't throw like 1,000 questions at you. I just
the question you're asking is so niche, but it is so pertinent to what I do. And the reason why it is such a good question is because the book income stream machine is designed to help people learn the skill set of self-publishing and then making it profitable. But the way to A to Z is repetition and practice. And so I have a I have two things that I do. Onboarding immediately. It's called the 72-hour publisher. I give you the cover and I give you the interior for a journal. And I don't force you, I try to encourage you to upload a book immediately. Like, get it up, hit publish, because all of my data has shown the people that get into my program and publish a book fast, keep going and have momentum. The people that don't take that seriously, they are going to take longer to actually gain the confidence to believe that they can do it. So that kind of blew my mind, because everyone said at the end of that wasn't that hard. And I'll do it for my students and it takes me 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, we're doing this. Like, no wonder she created almost 500 books. Like, she has the system down. The second thing that I have people do is what's called the ideation brain dump. And it's a Google sheet where they write down all their passions and interests. And I think it's important when you're self-publishing or building a book catalog to have an idea of what lights you up, because that's also going to play into your momentum of not stopping, right? There's so many reasons why we stop, but there's a lot of stuff we do in life that we never stop because we love it. And so it's really finding those and extracting those, and they don't always have to fit with your business. And that's the super cool thing with self-publishing. You don't even have to put your name on books. I have 27 pen names. You go search my name on Google or on Amazon, you're going to find like 4 books, and 3 of them were accidents under my name. So where the money is coming in are like these obscure names that I don't even have to worry about. I don't have to answer an email or get on a Zoom call for. So it is really powerful to be able to take one step away from yourself and say, it's okay for me to mess up and learn, but gain clarity by doing that. So being able to write down your ideas is, I say, 2-part creation. Like, if you've ever read the beginning of the Bible, it has the creation twice, and it's still in Genesis. And one of the reasons is because it was spiritually created before it was physically created. And so I tell people, like, if it's in your mind, that is the spiritual, but writing it down is the physical, and 2 is better than 1. So let's write those ideas down, because then you're going to get the momentum and inspiration to take action on it.
I'm just gonna walk away. As a podcaster, like I specifically when as an interview podcaster and with a show like Invest in Yourself, the knowledge that just gets dropped into my brain, and I'm like, oops, I'm not even worthy of this, because and I get to steal this or borrow, if you will, all the great gems and like use it on other podcasts when I go on, and it makes me look like a friggin' genius. The joys of podcasting, right? But Jenny, that was friggin' genius. I love that that analogy. Like, it's created spiritually up here, and then it's physically created, because it's true. We are coming to the end, which again, fucking hate. We're gonna have you back on when you write that book, when that book is published, self-published. Of course, I'm hoping under your name and not a pen name.
Yes, sir.
But that does, like, the pen name idea. I'd never thought about it, and like, people can get away with writing whatever type of book they want with that pen name, and if they want to be known as like, hey, maybe I want to write this really saucy romance novel, but you're scared to attach your name to it, well, you use a pen name.
Let me drop one gold nugget that's going to make you fall off your chair. So the podcast, Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. You could essentially have some type of journal, planner, workbook, whatever, for podcasters or an entrepreneur investing in themselves. You could use the pen name, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, as you're uploading, and Amazon will rank that. So when someone comes in and types that, it's going to push your podcast to the top of Google, and Amazon is going to push the book that you made on the top of Google. So using your business name is also a way to establish, and then you can say you're a global brand because Amazon has distribution in 8 countries. So it's so powerful.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to be releasing this episode moving forward. But no, that actually is in the works. Without using the pen name, now I'm going to use the pen name of the Invest in Yourself Digital Entrepreneur pen name. Jenny, we're going to get to this question. We alluded to it from the beginning of the podcast up until now. It's, as most of the audience knows, I'm writing a book for my nephew when he turns 10 from the advice of amazing entrepreneurs like yourself. And I'm already, the advice, Jenny, you have given I'm ready. Like I'm strapped in because I know it's going to be amazing. I have 10-year-old Jenny right beside me. What is the one piece of advice that you want to give Jenny so that they can just have a great life?
Ooh, I feel like I could just like break down and cry when I think about my childhood. I've been doing so much inner work lately to not screw up my own children by working on myself. And so I would say, like, I would tell 10-year-old Jenny, don't quit, but document the journey. Those two things have probably changed my life more than anything else. When you document the journey, you gain more gratitude. Gratitude increases your confidence. And so that's something actually I probably need to tell my little kids now is to document the journey a little bit more.
I love that. You dropped two amazing things there. Like obviously document the journey, but gratitude increases confidence. That is so true. When you're thankful, your confidence goes through the roof because you know everything is a lesson. Jenny, again blowing my mind. I'm gonna just jump off stage here so my mic can come back into my body. Please let my audience know where they can connect with you, how they can help you, maybe jump into the book income stream, whatever you feel like. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. So I would just anyone in the sound of my voice just to think about those ideas that you've had and the passion behind it. If it hasn't left your mind, there's a reason it was given to you. And it's your actually responsibility and blessing to be able to act on it. So you can find me anywhere online under Jenny Hansen Lane, every social media outlet. YouTube, I have 500 videos on self-publishing. So come join the party. I also have a Facebook group called Income Stream Makers Movement, where we talk about different income streams to build online.
Jenny, thank you so much for being here. I had if you haven't realized, I had an amazing time, and I'm so excited that we got to talk.
Thank you. Thank you for having the space for me to share a message and to bounce ideas off each other.
Oh, it's a pleasure. To my audience, if you got a modicum of advice or even a modicum of a golden nugget from this episode, make sure you check out the show notes down below to connect with Jenny, join her group, because you know it's going to help you spark those ideas, and it's a great listen, I'm flabbergasted. How often do you see me or hear me flabbergasted with a guest? So I want to thank you all very much for listening. Thank you very much for Jenny for being on the podcast, and remember to always invest in.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.